among the heathen, the Lord hath done great things for them. The Lord hath done great things for us, whereof we are glad. Turn again our captivity, Lord, as the streams in the south. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. He that goeth forth weepeth, beareth precious seed, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. Following with Bishop, we want to continue with the power of agreement, and we want to just turn to your neighbor as we take our seats and tell your neighbor, neighbor, I agree that it's my time for God to turn my way. This text here is a very familiar passage. It is a very familiar passage, a very familiar song. It is a part of a collection of songs which we like to call the Song of Ascents. And what the pilgrims would do here is they would use this book, or this song rather, and as they would journey up to meet with God in Jerusalem, they would quote or sing these songs as they would remember what the Lord had done for them. I found it appropriate to pull on this theme here because as we are about to approach the month of October, one of the most sacred times for the Jewish culture is Yom Kippur, which is about to come upon us in October. And that is the time that they believe that God then is going to give them an opportunity, a final moment to atone or to make a final plea for their sins for that past year. So I thought it favorable for me to pull on this text because these pilgrims, although they were not journeying up for that time, they were going up to talk to God for the things that he hath done in that year. And they were going to tell him, first, God, before we ask you for anything, God said, before you get to me, he said in Deuteronomy 16, he said, before you get to me and ask me for anything in the coming year, you must first come and say thank you. Somebody say thank you. He said, don't come asking me to heal. Don't come asking me to move. Don't come asking me to pay a bill. He said, when you get here, I need a preacher now. You need to come and say thank you. Thank you for keeping me. Thank you for all the things that you've done. He said, and when you come with an offering. These people, when they would journey up to Jerusalem, and they would come with gifts. They would come to pay God forward, not just for what he hath done, but they would pay him for what they knew God would do in the future. In other words, they would say, based upon your record and what you've done for me in the past, because you've been so good, because you've been so wonderful, because you've been so generous, so kind, I'm going to take time to pay you in advance and say thank you. If we were to take a deep dive into this text, I don't have time here, we would see here in its original form, it is written when Hashem. That word there was first introduced to Moses in the book of Exodus. It was first mentioned to him by God. And God then, when he was talking to Moses, he first said that when Moses came to him, he said, God, you're asking me to do this here, but who shall I say you are? Now you must first understand, he was not asking who you are really because he knew who God was. But if you understood anything about the Hebrew culture, what he was saying is, what is your history? What is your track record? They were very sensitive people, and they they understood that your name meant who you were really. It meant something. It weighed something. It was expensive. It was material. So he was saying, what have you done really? What he said is, he said, I am Hashem. Prior to this, the people of God, what they would do is, because God's name was so sacred, they would think of his name, but they would not utter his name because it was too pure. It was 4 letters, all consonant, no vowels. It was unutterable. And to the foreigners, they would say that there are a people that belong to a nameless God. Wasn't that God was nameless? It was just that when I thought about God, I realized that I did not have the power to name him, because for me to name him would mean that he would be subject to me, and I'm not that wonderful. So what they did was, they would say, because we're not like him, we will call on the peace of God that we need. We need healer. We gonna call on Rapha. We need a covering. We'll call on Nisi. We need provider. We'll call on Jireh. But then here in this text, God says that there are parts of me that you've not seen. So then Hashem turns. Y'all help me preach, would you? I just need 3 people to turn. Hashem turned. And when he turned, they saw parts of God that they had never seen before. Did not know God was able to be in that capacity. You ever been like that? Ever been in need from God, and just when you are about to give up, oh, y'all acting like you crazy. I'm gonna talk to you out there in TV land, cause you about to throw in the towel, but I've come to give you hope tonight and let you know to hold on, cause God's about to turn, and there's a part of him that you've not seen. God sent me here to tell you to hold on, because God is in agreement with your delivery. He's in agreement with your victory. He's in agreement with your freedom. I need somebody to shout yes. Yes. Here, and I'm leaving. The Lord turns here, and it says that they began to sing. I don't have time, but when you study this, these people had stopped singing. They took their instruments and they hung them up on the trees because they decided that where I am presently is not what God spoke to me. So I'm going to hang up my instruments, and I'm not going to get comfortable in the hell, I'm sorry, in the mess that I'm currently in. In other words, there are some of you that have become comfortable in your circumstance, but if it does not speak to the word that God first spoke over in your life, then why are you in agreement with it? You need to hang up your instruments. Go grab your passports back. Stop acting like you're citizens in the turmoil that you're in. Somebody shout glory. They said, God, turn again. That suggests there that God had turned one time before. I've come to preach to those of you that have had God's favor in in your life before, but you messed up, and everybody want to judge you. Oh, but there's a word from God tonight. He's about to turn again. He's about to turn again. God turn again the captivity. In other words, if you were to study this, what they were saying here is all the favor that is on my life. I know I found myself in situations and circumstances that favored folk, oh God, should not have found themselves in. But all I need is one more turn. I just need one more. Somebody tell your neighbor, just one more.